All right, let's take a look and listen at the Bastl Neo Trinity, the Earthquaker Devices wave transformer. I'm going to be using the Aikido dynamic mixer very heavily in this. The ES9 from Expert Sleepers is my interface, so every single voice of this patch has its own track, so that's really, really useful. Be using the circuit tracks as my clock to clock the Neo Trinity, as well as drums and some other synths, and then that will be controlling the Future Retro 777. So let's check out the foundation of this here piece of music real quick. So I'll be pushing play here on the circuit tracks. And then I've got this pattern view, so I've got all these different patterns I can switch between. I'm going to mute our synth voices here on the circuit tracks and bring in the 777 from Future Retro, monophonic analog bass synth. I've got two different sequences that I'm going back and forth between on the Future Retro. So here's one, and then the next one. Cool. I'm also using the circuit tracks to tune everything. So I've already tuned the Future Retro to the circuit tracks. So let's get into the wave transformer here. We'll just listen to one of the voices coming out of this. It's being heavily, actually, let me take this stuff out. So you can hear it's a little out, so I'm just going to tune that. And then what I have going on here is I am sending the sync output from the circuit tracks into the clock in of the Neo Trinity. And if you're watching the video, you can see there's a million cables coming out of this thing. It is, let me just make sure I'm actually being accurate here. Other than one of the envelopes on the Strega that's only really doing anything on the Strega. The Neo Trinity is the only modulation source in this patch, and that's gonna become way, way, way cooler here in a moment. So let's just turn this on real quick. I have set up the channel F output on the Neo Trinity to the CV part here, and then I have quantized it to be in key with the song on the circuit tracks. So now when I turn the rate dial on the Neo Trinity, that channel F output is going into the 1 volt per octave of the wave transformer. So that's pretty fun. So we can do a little jam. So that's pretty neat. Let's check out some of the other outputs that I've got. So right now what we're hearing here, that is the complex output from the wave transformer. And this giant transform knob is what is, making that really interesting waveform sound here. I am modulating that with the CV Trinity, and we'll get to that in a second. And then the second output I've got from the wave transformer is what they call the rectangle output. So let me turn off my modulation on the Bastl Aikido real quick, and then I'll turn off the pulse width modulation. With no modulation, we've got the pulse width knob here, and then I can add some modulation in there. So I think that's pretty cool. And then I'm bringing some modulation into the Aikido for the VCA aspect of it. Give it some rhythmic stuff. That will become more exciting here in a moment. And then I've got the sub-pulse output from the transformer going into channel 3 of the Aikido. And then finally, we've got the Strega coming into channel 4. Bunch of stuff going on with the Strega. I'm actually running some of the voices from the wave transformer into the external audio input. But let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Oh, and I'm also, I've got this same 1 volt per octave that's going into the wave transformer, going into the Strega. So let's just get 2 of these voices going real quick. So you might be thinking to yourself, okay, cool, you can control the melody there with the knob, but you don't want to sit there and just play the knob the whole time, right? Well, you don't have to. So let's get a little thing going here. Now, all I have to do is hold down the record button and start turning the rate knob on the Neo Trinity. Now I've got a sweet melody going, so let's bring the other 2 voices from the wave transformer back into the Aikido. And I will turn off the future retro and the synth voices on the circuit track, so that's just the wave transformer and the Strega being controlled by the CV Trinity, or the Neo Trinity, excuse me. And what's really cool about the Neo Trinity is not only can we do that recording deal with our quantized melodic output on F, but we can actually do some recording of rate changes. So let's just listen to our rectangle wave here that's being, the VCA is being modulated as well as the pulse width. So there's that. And then I will go to channel E here. That is our pulse width. So let me turn off the modulation on the VCA. So I can change the rate. So actually, let's get this going again. And now let's record some rate changes. And now let's turn that VCA back on the Aikido, and we will change the CV, the rate of the LFO that's controlling that VCA. So that's pretty fun. Let's bring that sub back in and let's modulate. Let's change the rate of the LFO that's controlling its VCA channel. All right, cool. So let's get the Strega going in here. So I'm using one of the LFOs to control the blend here. So we've got just the synth side and then the affected side. So I'll put that back in there. Now let's mess with that time. Oh, I actually like that, so I'm going to leave that. Now, one final trick here that I think is pretty cool is some self-modulating here on the wave transformer. So I'm going to take the saw output, and I'm going to put that into the shape insert. So what the shape insert is you can use any external sound source to go into the wave transformer, and then the transform knob will then change the shape of the wave that's coming out. So I'm actually going to hook the guitar up to it at some point. But so yeah, there's the saw input going in there. And that's with nothing going into the shape insert. Once again, put the saw in there. It's a slight change, but I think it's pretty cool. And then with the hard and soft sync inputs here, you can actually get some really, really cool results. So I'm going to run the output from the Strega into the soft sync. Another small but cool change. Now I'm going to run some audio modulation from the wave transformer itself into its linear FM input. Now let's bring in our Future Retro. We'll go back to channel F. Let's just get rid of our recording and make a new melodic line. Double click the record button to get rid of that, and we'll just do another. It almost sounds like a wicked guitar solo. And that's that.